New Right Network. Mobilizing, countering the left, energizing the right. New Right Network, home of the New Right movement.
Run.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to New Right Network tonight. Your host, Brian Smith with SmythTV. And we bring you all the breaking news of the day. We wrap it all up, make sense of it all, exposing the fake news and giving you the real news. Breaking news, guys. I just broke this news to somebody just before the show began, and I was quite shocked that this individual did not know, but I'll give it to you. Uncle Joe Biden jumping in. Now we got 20-some Democrats running for the nomination. This is going to be one heck of a run, folks. This is going to be so much fun watching these Democrats destroy themselves. So again, breaking news, Joe Biden releases a video, and we'll show that to you here in a minute, talking about how he's going to run 2020. And wait till you see the video. It's a 3-minute clip. I'm going to play the whole thing. I think it's like 3 minutes and 25 seconds. I'm going to play the whole thing, break it down, and you guys are not going to believe what this guy's done. Maybe you might. Maybe you might. And then I bring you all the great news from the internet, social media, all the people that are on social media posting up incredible articles from news outlets. So if you've ever heard of the Drudge Report, how Matt Drudge goes out, retitles an article, and then lists them on his entire website from different news outlets, I literally go to my social media outlet and all the people that are the great minds on social media. I pick out the ones that have incredible articles that they post up, could be videos as well, and then their own personal comments to them, and I bring that to you. And for some of you that are not on social media, especially Twitter and Facebook, I've got parents and friends, people that don't have those accounts. So I like to bring you those great minds and a lot of the great articles that are out there, so you don't have to go searching for them. So we're also going to talk about Obama era policy coming back with Joe Biden. No, don't say it's so, Joe. Don't say it's so. Yep. I'm sorry. It's so. Got a great article. New Right Network writer, Rose Taylor. The link to all the description. Everything's in the description below. So if you want to go ahead and run over to New Right Network's article that Rose Taylor wrote, Joe Biden is now a 2020 presidential candidate. Incredible read. We'll get into that as well. Democrat contenders. Yeah, there's a couple of them. There's a lot of them, but we're only going to get to maybe one or two of them. Islam still in the news, still making news. People in Europe complaining about Islam, prominent leaders complaining about Islam. They're complaining about the same things that we're complaining about, that Islam is creating. I don't know if Europe can be saved. I really don't, with the invasion that's happening now. Illegal immigration updates, got some updates for you. And the impeach Trump. You'll be shocked at who's pulling back on the impeach Trump movement. And then our good friend Alex Phillips with American Priority Conference, the one that we did last year. And now we have a new conference coming up in October, the weekend of Columbus weekend. Going to be incredible. It's going to be down in Florida at the Doral Trump Country Club. It's going to be a blast. They're going to have a golf open. They're also going to do a Texas Hold'em, raising money for charity. It's going to be a lot of fun. So I recommend jump over to AmericanPriority.com and sign up, get involved, be a part of this movement that is America First. After 2024, folks, it's on our shoulders. Right now, Donald Trump is doing all the heavy lifting, and all of it's on him, not all of it, majority of it's on his shoulders. He's literally taking back the economy. He's literally crushing the deep state. He's literally removing regulations with the likes that we've never seen before, and he is literally installing conservative constitutional judges with the likes we've never seen before. Once this is over, this run won't last forever. Once it's over, 2024, it is on us. It is on our shoulders to continue the movement, continue the new news networks, if you will, the real media, and continue to expose the propaganda and the fake media. And so I have a great interview here coming up with Alex Phillips. He's going to lay out the Internet Bill of Rights the way it should be, why the Internet is what it is, the problems that need to be solved, and he's also going to show you the future of what the Internet will be. And so stay tuned for that. It'll be down at probably at the bottom of the hour. I can't help but to get into this one. It's Uncle Joe. Let's go. Okay, first of all, let's go to the video. Uncle Joe was trending when I woke up this morning. It was unbelievable. Joe 2020, Biden 2020, Joe space Biden, Uncle Joe, Creepy Joe. All of it was trending the moment I woke up bright and early this morning, and I couldn't help myself, got all giddy. So I searched over to the social medias, to the Twitters, and found that Joe Biden went ahead and threw his hat in the ring, said, I'm running 2020. It's official. We here think that that's a day late and a dollar short. And I will see how this one goes. But here's the video that Joe Biden put up as announcing his run. And it's a beauty.
Charlottesville, Virginia is home to the author of one of the great documents in human history. We know it by heart. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights. We've heard it so often, it's almost a cliche, but it's who we are. We haven't always lived up to these ideals. Jefferson himself didn't, but we have never before walked away from them. Charlottesville is also home to a defining moment for this nation in the last few years. It was there on August of 2017 we saw Klansmen and white supremacists and neo-Nazis come out in the open. Their crazed faces, illuminated by torches, veins bulging, and bearing the fangs of racism, chanting the same anti-Semitic bile heard across Europe in the 30s. And they were met by a courageous group of Americans, and a violent clash ensued. And a brave young woman lost her life. And that's when we heard the words of the President of the United States that stunned the world and shocked the conscience of this nation. He said there were, quote, some very fine people on both sides. Very fine people on both sides? With those words, the President of the United States assigned a moral equivalence between those spreading hate and those with the courage to stand against it. And in that moment, I knew the threat to this nation was unlike any I had ever seen in my lifetime. I wrote at the time that we're in the battle for the soul of this nation. Well, that's even more true today. We are in the battle for the soul of this nation. I believe history will look back on 4 years of this president and all he embraces as an aberrant moment in time. But if we give Donald Trump 8 years in the White House, he will forever and fundamentally alter the character of this nation,
Yes.
who we are. And I cannot stand by and watch that happen. The core values of this nation, our standing in the world, our very democracy, everything that has made America America is at stake. That's why today I'm announcing my candidacy for President of the United States. Folks, America's an idea that's stronger than any army, bigger than any ocean, more powerful than any dictator or tyrant. It gives hope to the most desperate people on earth. It guarantees that everyone is treated with dignity and gives hate no safe harbor. It instills in every person in this country the belief that no matter where you start in life, there's nothing you can't achieve if you work at it. That's what we believe. And above all else, that's what's at stake in this election. We can't forget what happened in Charlottesville. Even more important, we have to remember who we are. This is America.
Okay, let's knock this thing down. Oh my goodness, Uncle Joe. Uncle Joe is out of control. First off, more racism. Opening your campaign up with racism. Racism. It was fake news. Donald Trump did not say what he is saying about neo-Nazis. He did not say, and not only that, but Joe Biden just embraced ANTIFA. What are we talking about here? To begin your first step for the run for presidency, and your first step is the step of racism. Nah, man, this ain't gonna work. What it's gonna do is it's gonna remind every single sane American of what Barack Obama did in the 8 years of his presidency. He completely divided this country based on racism, set racism and the moving forward of breaking the chains of racism, set that back 50 to 60, 70, 80 years. Folks, back in the 90s, I do not remember ever, even in the early 2000s, I do not remember racism being so front and center as it is today because of the legacy of Barack Obama dividing the nation among races. Joe Biden, more racism, man. Not only that, but I don't see neo-Nazis. Not only that, but where are they at? They only show up when you guys pay for them. KKK, neo-Nazis, all of that stuff. It's all from the left. And the more that you guys talk about this, Uncle Joe, the more that it gives us a platform to respond back to you with fact and not fiction, showing the American people, showing the world that the Democrats are the party of racism. We got this. It's also true. This is what's going to be so beautiful about this election. All this stuff is going to come back to haunt Uncle Joe once again. Folks, we're not letting none of this go.
I mean, you got the first sort of mainstream African American who is articulate and bright and clean, nice looking guy. I mean, that's a storybook.
Talking about Barack Obama, clean and articulate. Uh-oh. We got the hair sniffer. For those of you audio only, it's Jim Acosta getting sniffed by Joe Biden. Guys, this is going to be one heck of a campaign run. As you see, I'm liking and retweeting the Jim Acosta being accosted. It has just been all over social media. It's been all over social media that Joe Biden and all the pedophilia and all the creepiness is coming out. Now, I want to make it clear that this campaign should not be, we should not attack Joe Biden based on all of his sexual inappropriateness. We don't know for a fact that he's a pedophile. He's not been charged. He's not been convicted. His acts and his physical acts in public recorded are absolutely beyond creepiness. However, we need to attack this campaign of Joe Biden, attack it with fact-based information that we have at our fingertips, because there is so much out there. Joe Biden is now claiming to redo, if you will, the Obama era policies. We cannot let that happen. And this Breitbart News calls, it's referring to Joe Biden's video that you just saw, calls Antifa rioters courageous group of Americans. Yeah, Uncle Joe, I'm sorry. That's not no good. Also says we should build upon Obamacare. And now Obama praises Biden, but does not endorse him. So we'll have to see who Barack Obama endorses. That's kind of sketchy that your own VP that you don't endorse right away for president. My personal opinion of what's going on with the Democrat Party and what's going to happen. This party is so fractured, so crazed to the left that they needed somebody who was not a centrist, but not as crazy as the crazy left has gone. And so they tapped Joe Biden to shut down the left crazy nonsense, the Bernie Sanders, the Kamala Harris, the letting rapists and murderers vote from prison. So the DNC is like, no, man, we got to shut this down. We got to get Uncle Joe in. And I'm telling you, from what I'm seeing, all the other candidates, you see all the hot air, just leave the balloon. The balloon has been bursted. They got nothing left. It's going to be devastating because even like the guy, Buttigieg out of South Bend, Indiana, which is referred to as the back end of Chicago, completely destroyed and wrecked. Thank you, Democrats. I'm sorry. So you had a chance. You had a message. But Joe Biden has name recognition, and I've been told this by other campaign officials that when you're running for your party's nomination, the only thing that matters is name recognition. They need to know the name. If Hillary Clinton ran again, they just need to know the name. People are going to vote for her because it's Hillary Clinton. Bernie Sanders had that opportunity, but it's gone and set sailed. He's gone even farther, hardcore to the left. And the people that propped him up or that loved on him and that wanted him to win, their balloons were popped and burst when they find out and realized that Bernie Sanders was in it for the money and took the money and run. Hillary Clinton paid off. And Bernie Sanders wound up running her campaign the last 3 months because she didn't even have no energy to run. And then let's get to the article. Let's get to the article real quick before I get too far into this. Again, Rose Taylor, the links are in the description below. New Right Network writer. Joe Biden is now a 2020 presidential candidate. And as we go through it, she writes, Joe Biden has officially thrown his hat in the ring for the 2020 presidential election. Biden joins 19 other notable Democrat hopefuls and 2 Republicans, including incumbent President Trump. Thus far, 683 candidates have registered with the FEC to run for president. Is it too early to predict a Bernie 2.0? After much media speculation, Biden announces intentions to run via online video. This will be Biden's 3rd bid for president. His first bid was over 30 years ago in 1987, which a lot of you might have not have been born by then, but just to keep you posted on history. Having been unsuccessful in his last 2 attempts, Biden seems hopeful that this will be the year he finally secures a seat in the Oval Office. Biden's platform against Trump. After 2 failed presidency, one may wonder what Biden will run on. I'm going to tell you what he's going to run on. Here's a tweet from Charles Payne. Charles Payne, a fan of the show and a follower. He writes, Joe Biden citing President Trump's comments on Charlottesville, why he's entering the presidential race. Quote, I knew the threat to this nation was unlike any I had ever seen in my lifetime. Okay, Charles Payne writes, other threats in Biden's lifetime? How about World War I, the Korean War, Vietnam War, Iraq War, flu pandemic in 1968, AIDS pandemic, and I'll throw in there radical jihad Islam. So thank you, Rose Taylor, for that article. Again, folks, jump down to the link, the description below so that you can see the article and share it on social media. and this by the Daily Caller. This is great. See, all these I want to say conservative outlets, all these real news outlets, the Daily Caller, Breitbart News, giving you real news. And this by the Daily Caller. Joe Biden on display. Title of the article, Joe Biden starts presidential campaign by praising Antifa. The violent methods of Antifa were well documented. The nebulous group often used these violent means against peaceful conservative speakers, benign free speech advocates, and even journalists. In a retelling of the events at the 2017 white nationalist rally in Charlottesville, Virginia, Biden describes the white nationalists as having crazed faces, illuminated torches, veins bulging, and bearing fangs of racism, but describes the Antifa members who engaged violently with them as courageous group of Americans. At rallies in D.C. last year, an Antifa protester repeatedly punched a man in the face, and others threw water bottles and launched fireworks at police officers. They also started fires with Molotov cocktails during the protest of a planned Milo Yiannopoulos event at Berkeley. More recently, Antifa members showed up at Tucker Carlson's house, hurled threats while one of them slammed into his front door. The Daily Caller News Foundation reporting led to the arrest of the Antifa leader, who accused of accosting and assaulting two Marines in Philadelphia. The Antifa members allegedly attacked Marines, both Hispanic, while shouting racial slurs. Yeah, Joe, this ain't looking like too good of a start. It got a lot of little rocky, little bumpy here. But we will absolutely put this on display. We will call out Joe Biden for who Joe Biden is. We've got to attack him on policy, and his actions and his words. The fact that he's creepy Joe Biden, the fact that he possibly may be a pedophile, that put that aside. Leave that to the meme wars. The meme wars will take care of that. But as we report the news and talk about the news, we need to stay focused on the facts. The fact is Joe Biden would attempt to bring back Obamacare. The fact is Joe Biden would elect judges that are not constitutional judges, that are liberal judges, that will interpret the law as they see fit. We've got America right on the right track, thanks to Donald Trump in the first 2 years of his presidency, with the likes we've never seen before. We've got an economy that's just boomtown. Sorry, Joe, I don't know what you're talking about. And now we got our good friend at Chat by CC. Absolutely follow her. She's got great information that she posts out, like this one right here, replying to Donald Trump. And yes, Donald Trump did put this out there. Donald Trump did say this. Donald Trump tweeted out, "Welcome to the race, Sleepy Joe. I only hope you have the intelligence long in doubt to wage a successful primary campaign. It will be nasty. You will be dealing with some people who truly have very sick and demented ideas. But if you make it, I'll see you at the starting gate." And somebody replied to Donald Trump with this video.
We met before. It's hard to forget those eyes. Look at those eyes.
Yeah,
Look at them.
She just was the queen of the...
That is not surprising.
Isn't it true?
That is not surprising. What are you doing now, kiddo? You're still in school?
No, I just got out of school. I'm about to start working for Baker's company. And
Well,
then
great. Good for you.
3 years she got her degree.
Oh, that's what confused me, because when I met you before.
Yeah.
And I thought you still had more time in school.
Just so creepy. Oh, he's touching her shoulders. He's rubbing on her. You can go back and CC at Chat by CC replied to Donald Trump and said, "LOL, welcome Sleepy Joe," or is the rest of the America calls him Creepy Joe. Creepy Joe. I'm going to keep throwing it out. I mean, the video speaks for itself. However, we will back this up with information about Joe Biden. His ideologies are on display. He's been in politics for 30, 40 years. I mean, wow, this guy's been up there forever. And we're going to keep talking about him and keep talking about his policies and the things that he has done. And so He's on display. He is totally on display. And the problem that he's going to have is he can't run away from us. The real news media, he can't get away from us because we have the internet to show all. And this at MAM 65, MAM 66. Joe Biden started off with a racist yawn. Talk about low energy. If the economy, job creation, and wages keep growing, what does Sleepy Joe really have to offer? If Biden is going to run on his record compared to real Donald Trump, our great POTUS, people will vote Trump 2020. And this reply to, I wouldn't do that if I were him. Barack Obama, 8 years of war, lowest economic growth in American history, record number of mass shootings, record number of people on food stamps, record high health insurance costs, record high national debt, worst rioting since 1967, highest poverty level in American history. This by, we follow each other. How about that? MOMMAGS 2579. So I'll put that in the description below. Follow these folks. You've got to follow them. And these are the folks to follow. Folks, you're going to see, if you're on Twitter, if you're on the social media, you got to find these individuals. These are the ones to watch their account and watch the articles that are being posted and the great comments that they're putting out as well. I can't say enough. I mean, Uncle Joe is totally on display, and I've been in back and forth conversations with this incredible patriot, Cat the Hammer 1, and she does exactly what I'm telling you is going to happen to all these candidates, especially Uncle Joe. Uncle Joe forgets we have this thing called the internet. I'll just leave a few of these right here. Hashtag 50 Shades of Biden. Biden busted in China scandal. Former Joe Biden wants you to think he's a different kind of politician. Thought his lunch bucket Joe persona. He constantly reminds us that is not him. Yes, absolutely. This China scandal is going to come back to haunt him. Former VP Joe Biden's collusion with China may be unearthed in the 2020 election cycle. And Breitbart editor, Biden's son inked deal with Chinese governments days after vice president's trip. And we're talking about Peter Schweizer's book, Secret Enemies. This book details all the politicians' connections to overseas monies, China, Russia, the Ukraine. And one of the stories that they talk about is Joe Biden and John Kerry. Their two families are like a big family together. They vacation together. They dine together. They've been together for decades. John Kerry's stepson and Joe Biden's son both formed a corporation. And members of that board of that corporation just happened to be board members of the Bank of China. China is a communist regime, and the Bank of China is literally connected to the government. This is a big money being donated to their corporation to tunes of hundreds of millions of dollars through Chinese outlets. Also, Joe Biden is tied to the Ukrainian issue with the crooked politicians and the really bad deep state individuals that are tied to Russia. This is not going to go over well. Officials in the Ukraine were told to laissez-faire, hands off. Don't be getting into Biden. Don't be looking into this stuff. You got to leave him alone. He's one of the good people, which in reality, he's definitely one of the bad people. You talk about the swamp and the deep state. This is the swamp in the deep state. Joe Biden embodies the swamp in the deep state 100%. And we are going to continue to hammer this home. I don't see how Joe Biden gets away with all the stuff in his past. It's just unbelievable. And this by our friend at Megavolt001, hashtag China, hashtag communist, hashtag deep state. Deep state infiltrated by communist. Former U.S. State Department employee pleads guilty to conspiring with Chinese spy. I only put this in here because I wonder if Joe Biden had anything to do with that or Joe Biden's son's corporation. if he had anything to do with Chinese spies being in the deep state. I wouldn't be surprised at all. I'm not saying that he did, but I wouldn't be surprised. At John McGeever, Dems hard at work coming up with ways to beat President Trump in 2020. This from replying to John Delaney. Donald Trump's biggest priority these days, showing people unfriending, unfollowing Donald Trump. Yes, so John Delaney, we've had enough of Donald Trump's bullying and lies. Help Team Delaney take away his voice by unfollowing him on Twitter now. Hashtag unfollow Trump. I showed this to my wife with my daughter standing there, and I said, what do you make of this? Both my wife and my daughter said that this is so childish. And the Democrats, that's who they are. They're just childish. They can't take it. And the memes are going to ruin them. They can't take those either. And then as we shift on through to Islam on display in Europe once again. This is the Islam update, if you will. And guess who's complaining about Islam? Hashtag Europe is doomed by our good friend at Chris_A10_USA. This interview on Russia Today, interviewing a man from Brussels.
Be in favor of equality of men and women, in favor of the rule of law, freedom of expression. And when we see that people don't accept this and are going to be candidates in elections, well, I think there's a big problem. There's also a big problem with the fact that people who don't even have our nationality are allowed to vote for local elections in Belgium. And I think this should change. And first of all, also, we should put a stop to this mass immigration of people coming from outside Europe and from mainly Islamic countries, people who cannot and will not adapt to our way of living in West.
You've got Brussels complaining that Muslims are not assimilating to their culture. Go figure that, guys. We've been telling you about this forever. And we're actually doing something about this. God bless it. This is one of our MAGA candidates. Keep her name. You all know her, Laura Loomer. And this tweeted out by our good friend at Julie, REICHWEIN1. And she does follow back. She says, I follow back all MAGA. So when you follow her, let her know that you follow her back. If she doesn't follow you, get a hold of me and I'll send her a DM about that. But she tweets out, kick-ass Laura Loomer is doing what MAGA has been asking for months. Laura Loomer files lawsuit against CARE and Twitter. Laura Loomer official, lauraloomer.us. Retweet if you support Laura filing this lawsuit. We absolutely approve of and support Laura Loomer filing her lawsuit and striking back at CARE and striking back CARE, terrorist tied organization. CARE is a terrorist tied organization. I can't say enough about that. And then illegal immigration updates. Got to give you this one. Overnight breaking news. This by our friend at Ohio_Buckeye_US. LA illegal aliens busted for prostitution ring after attempting kidnap. Human and drug trafficking crimes committed by illegals are escalating and are conveniently ignored by MSM, mainstream media. This is why you come here, folks, right here. SmythTV, New Right Network. We give you the real news, the breaking news of the day, updating you as things go along, exposing the fake news, and giving you the real news. The impeach Trump thing is kind of crazed candidates in the Democrat Party. Oh, and speaking about that, I just got some breaking news right here. CNN Town Hall, apparently Bernie Sanders invoked MLK Jr.'s name and got boos from the crowd. Yes, there you go. Democrat Party, supported by the KKK. I believe David Duke does endorse the Democrat Party for sure. But the hashtag impeach Trump movement, you will be shocked. at Fox News, at CNN, at MSNBC, and CBS, ABC, at Hillary Clinton. This is our friend, Patriot for Freedom, at Trump_girl_USA. Follow her. She tweets out, trying to insert as if innocent. She's not dirty. House Democrats and Speaker Pelosi, make no mistake, she covers herself first. And this was reported by Fox News. Hillary Clinton cautioned House Democrats on Wednesday against immediately launching impeachment proceedings against President Trump. Impeachment proceedings, whether she wants him impeached or not, impeachment proceedings, she knows, will not work well, does not go well. This is not going to end well for the Democrats attempting to impeach a very successful, look, it is a successful presidency. Donald Trump has become successful with America First agenda, become successful with the economy. To fight all that is a losing battle, and Hillary Clinton knows. However, she's got bigger problems with the DOJ coming after her. They're relooking into the email scandal. They're relooking into a lot of different things. And I've got this by Paul Speary at Paul Speary _ breaking. FBI agents Joe Patinka and Mike Guetta, along with DOJ official Stu Evans, are figuring prominently as witnesses in the IG Horowitz investigation of the department FISA abuses. The findings in the forthcoming IG report are said to be devastating. Yes, if you remember, Joe Patinka was the second to Peter Strzok interviewing General Flynn. And Patinka is going to blow the lid off of the entire thing, because he knows that General Flynn did not lie to him or anyone else. And wow, I'm getting live updates from Paul Speary as we're talking now. This just tweeted out just a minute ago, developing. It is now looking as though there is more evidence that Obama had a heavier hand in the interfering in the 2016 election than Putin did. Yes, that is true, folks. It is going to be bad. And this also tweeted out by at real Matt Couch. Raise your hand if you don't give a damn what the McCains think. This by the DCPatriot.com. The McCain family will back Joe Biden for president. The family of the late ghost of John McCain will back former Vice President Joe Biden for president, sources tell Washington Examiner. And as you see right here, Southern but Nobel won ABBEY. Abby Normal. Oh, folks, this is going to be so good. This campaign is going to be a blast. Follow one ABB Normal, Abby Normal. Follow. And lastly, our good friend in New Jersey at Akins _Josh. Just imagine how better off this nation would be if Congress put as much energy as it is into impeaching at real Donald Trump, into legislating policies and streamlining processes. Instead, we get wasteful adventures in division, all the while important items fall off the table. Absolutely follow him. And if you're in New Jersey, you absolutely need to be plugged in. All right, folks, with that being said, let's switch over. As I promised, our good friend Alex Phillips with AmericanPriority.com and the American Priority Conference coming up here in October, the weekend of Columbus weekend, being held down in El Dorado in Florida at Trump's resort, which is going to be an absolute blast. You must be there. And we're going to talk about the Internet Bill of Rights, what's wrong with the Internet, the problems that we're having with these big tech monopolies, and how we solve this issue, and what does the future of the Internet look like. Welcome, Alex.
Yeah, hey, it's good to be back. So today I'm interested in talking a little bit about something that American Priority is very focused on, which is our First Amendment rights as U.S. citizens on the Internet, and that to me, comes down to something I call, and other people have called, an Internet Bill of Rights. And this is just a concept right now. So the concept of the fact that we've got internet rights, we've got rights now as citizens for free speech in, let's call it, the real world, do not seem to carry over into the cyber world.
Like our friend Laura Loomer, and then some of the other people that we've known, and now all of a sudden are out of our mind because we don't see them on the internet anymore. They're banned.
Right. And I kind of liken what's going on in the internet world today to something that happened in our past, which is very similar. And it's the analog, I guess, to the internet growth. And that was the days of the corporate railroads, when railroads were being built in America, and they were funded by government contracts, grants, and whatnot. And there was competition to get these railroads to connect people to places. And many of these places were brand new places that didn't exist before, railroad towns, or in some cases, mining towns. But basically, these railroad companies were able to develop these infrastructures that brought people and business and opportunity, and they controlled. They were referred to as the robber barons,
right?
Because they were super rich. They ran the law in the town. They were in control of commerce coming in and out of the town, and they also used their money to pay off the politicians so they could maintain their power and control. And over time, lawlessness and this type of activity was curtailed by the justice that our country really strives for, and laws by the government, the state government, county government, town government became the law of the land, and people became more in charge of their lives because of these laws, and a lot of this corruption disappeared for the most part. And it's all really based on the fact that we have these amendments, these 10 amendments that are our Bill of Rights that give us the right to do certain things and not to be have unfair things happen to us. It gives us the right to speak our mind. It gives us the right to bear arms. It gives us the right to not having troops placed in our house. It gives us the right to not have our houses searched at any given time. A lot of these things, are protections. But when you cross over into the world of the internet, again, these railroads, these internet pipelines, these internet railroads that go to these towns where we can have our businesses, where we can interact and transact, where we're spending more and more time on the internet doing business, the laws don't exist there in the same way, because these are private companies again, just like these towns were run by private companies.
Now, let me ask you this then, and this, not to get sidetracked or anything, but some people are saying that that absolutely Twitter and Facebook and YouTube would fall under the guidelines of a public forum. So they are private companies. So how could they be regulated by the government? I guess that's my question. How could they be?
I think that understanding how they could be regulated or how a regulation might work, you got to kind of look back in time and see how we got to this point. And so, many of your viewers probably have heard on Twitter, mentioning that, there's 6 media companies, conglomerates that basically own most of the TV today that we watch. And that's true. And these are the companies. So I'll start at the bottom. Viacom at $13 billion in revenue. They're not a very big player. They do the VH1, the Black Entertainment TV, MTV, Comedy Central. And then you go up to CBS, who is, they're doing the CBS News. And I find them the least offensive of all the media companies that I watch. And then you jump over to 21st Century Fox. And obviously they run a lot of, motion picture stuff, but they also do Fox News and all the different Fox subsidiaries. And they're about $29 billion a year. And then a big jump over to Disney at $55 billion a year, and they run your ABC affiliates, and so as well as a lot of the movie studios, a significant portion. And then another big jump over to Comcast, who is all NBC, everything NBC. Comcast owns NBC Universal, and they run a lot of movie studios as well. They're about $85 billion in annual revenues. But then the biggest one of them all, and this is kind of ironic because we're kind of back to where we started at the monopoly. AT&T is the largest media company in the country at $190 billion in revenue.
Holy
and
shit, that's not even close to second place.
Yeah, they run CNN.
Oh, so
CNN. Right
so that
there.
answers everybody your question about why CNN is still on. Your answer is right there.
Maybe I want to talk about this thing because, the other thing that I feel that we also have a right to do is to censor ourselves. I think we should all have the right to be able to say, I don't want to see something about this particular topic. I don't want to see, like on Twitter, I don't want to see, I feel really bad for Christians that have been decapitated and women that have been stoned and all this stuff, but I literally don't want to see the graphic violence on Twitter. It really bothers me.
I will say this though, for Twitter, I had no idea that there was adult content on Twitter, but they do a remarkable job of keeping that away from me. So I don't ever see it. And I made a comment. That's how I found out about it. I made a comment to somebody about that, and they're like, "Oh no, it's all on there." But for some way, somehow, I've never seen it, and it's never put in front of me. So if that's possible,
yeah. So you're filtering yourself, though. I think you probably did that when you set up your profile. So I think that instead of having the overlords or the gatekeepers decide what I can and cannot see, I want to be in charge of it. I want to say I don't want to see these things. I want to have the same rights and privileges that I have in my house to protect my children.
Well, and with that notion, if I tell it, I want to see every tweet from Donald Trump, that for them not to censor that, for them to send me every damn tweet, man.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I've complained about this before, but my cousin and I, we've been on Twitter since 2012. We follow each other. We periscope and follow each other, and neither one of us we never receive the notification that either one of us are live. A lot of his tweets, I hardly ever see his tweets ever, and I've been following him the longest. And it's insane that I get other tweets from people that I don't even follow. I see those before I ever see people I want to see.
Right. Well, so giving the, I think a right that I should have is I should have the right to filter my own content. I don't want it to be filtered by somebody else. The other thing that I think is pretty important that folks are kind of have glossed over, but are now becoming aware of, in today's world, is this concept of right to privacy. So, obviously, if you DM somebody on Twitter, you thought that was a private message between you and the other person. But now we know that's not true, thanks to Veritas.
Right.
And I think that, that privacy is something that people have given up. And they've given it up in exchange for, these applications that can give you directions or get you order food. People don't realize how much of their privacy they've given up. And you can see it on the internet now when you go to web pages that have ads.
Right.
And all those ads seem to be really tailored to you.
No, absolutely. I don't know if you know this, but back in probably 2006, 2007, I embarked upon a journey to create a social media outlet like Twitter. It was a Twitter, YouTube, Facebook combination when they didn't have that yet. And I realized really quickly how the creator of this became a little g god. I literally, and this was back when Twitter first started, I literally could see everybody's private pictures. I could see everybody's passwords. So I had your passwords. I had all your private pics, all your private DMs. I could change your password and screw with you. I could delete stuff. I could put stuff back up. I've told the story before, but it's been a while since I brought it up. I just thought about it just now. It was, at some point in time, started to realize, whoa, I had to pull back because I started to get this little God complex. And it was a scary thing. Looking at Jack Dorsey and looking at Zuckerberg, I mean, you're talking raking in billions of dollars a year, I know for a fact they've got a God complex.
Well, they have a God complex in a variety of different ways. So there's the fact that, yeah, they are pulling in, I consider it a disproportionate amount of income. So, all the capitalists are going to say, oh, I'm anti-rich people. No, I feel like, I'm a firm believer in, making a dollar from a dollar's worth of effort.
Yes.
And not really taking advantage of people because of things. But the other problem is that, when these companies first embarked into this world of Twitter or Facebook or YouTube, I don't really think they grasped that they were actually creating life in a way. And they did create life. And so there's a little bit of responsibility with that.
Right.
You're creating something that is now taking on a life of its own. And so when that life, seems to be doing harm, as a parent, you feel responsible. So if my kid was at school and he's beating up some other kid, I feel responsible to curb that problem and deal with it. So I have a talk with him, and hopefully I censor him from being able to be a bad child,
right,
so to speak. But I think that inherently shows the flaw in this design. So when I first started this internet business back in the 90s, literally dial-up was, but it enabled everybody to have access to this world of the internet, to start a web page, to go start a blog, to start exchanging ideas and concepts, start a new business. And it was a level playing field. Companies like YouTube and Google didn't exist at the time. Yahoo was, and I'm dating myself now. Yahoo was all text-based, and it was sitting on a, Berkeley.edu, I think, server in somebody's dorm room, right?
Wow.
In somebody's dorm room, right?
Okay.
And so, they were creating something. They were creating, well, how do I find you? How do I find something? Well, you have to have a place to search. Well, that place to search has to have a list of things that can be searched with descriptions and content and data. And then eventually it grew into what we have today, which now, people think Google is the internet. Well, Google is not. Google is just a computer that has information.
AOL had those baby boomers tricked to think that they had to pay to get online.
Yeah.
I'm dating myself with that.
Well, so, the concept of, prohibiting discrimination. So that means crafting a rule between the user and the operator, which prevents this opportunity for corruption and discrimination, is something that I think is very important. Privacy. But here's one more thing that people don't really kind of get a full grasp on either, and that's giving you control over your data. Right. So people joke around that the internet's forever, and that's really true, and that's kind of a problem. All right. If I decide to paint my house green today, and after about a month I don't like it, I'm going to paint it a different color, and that's it. That's the end of the greenhouse. My data on the greenhouse is mine. It's gone.
I've known people that said they've deleted their account on Facebook, and I can still see them.
Yeah. So you don't have any control over that. And let's say, for example, tomorrow somebody comes up with an alternative to Facebook or an alternative to Twitter, and I want to take everything that I've ever said. Let's say I want to control my data, and I want to transfer it over to there. I can't do that either.
No.
Without, and so I think what we're seeing today is still, we're still in beta, okay? Right. Everything on the internet today is an experiment. Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, all experiments that are running really great and showing us a lot of wonderful things, and they kind of got a little out of control. But I think the future is going to change for these people in a way that I think nobody should ever have that much control. I think the control the internet has really comes from the people that use it. Right. And I think we need to give all the people back. And so this sounds very socialist in nature, and that's actually probably the one place that socialism does work, and that's on the internet. And that means that the internet should be a compilation of everybody, not these silos of corporate dominance.
Well, I mean, you say socialist, but I kind of tend to think that it might be more of the power back to the people in a sense, to where you can control your own life, your own situation. However, again, in a socialist society, these rules have to be implemented for the internet.
Right. I think in our future, we're going to start to see a change in how social media works and how people exchange information. So, there's a couple of analogs, and I use this lightly, like web pages, for example. I'm going to use this as an analog of what I see social media of the future. So there could have been, company A who had a server that you had to use their browser to look at web page content. And company B had a different server and you had to use their browser to look at their content. And company C, all these companies could have had various technologies that they used that gave them an advantage, but you had to use their browser. And that would have been really sucky for the rest of us, right? So they compromised and they came up with standards.
Oh, right.
HTTP protocol port 80 is the standard. So if I want to have a server, I run an application, and I can use anybody's application service software, but it all is based on standards. And so there's no standard right now. And I think the future is going to really unfold in a way that we don't really see today that gives the public back that control. And so there's this thing called IPv6 that people may have heard of. I've mentioned it in a couple of speeches that I've given. I always ask the question, how many people run a business? And they raise their hand. And then I say, how many of you guys are running your accounting software on DOS 1.0?
Oh, man.
None of them, right? Well, Internet version 4 is essentially DOS 1.0 with a lot of patches and Band-Aids and everything else to make it kind of work like we really wanted to. But we didn't. We go to IPv6, and now we're in this new era where things change, all right? So what changes? Well, your voice over IP company is no longer necessary because now we can have peer-to-peer communications. Video transmissions are more efficient, so video on demand works better.
Man, now that you bring that up, I totally forgot about that. Voice over IP completely disappeared.
Yeah, spam, no more.
Yeah,
robocalling, gone. All these things change, and there's a lot of companies that have vested interest to not see these things change. Security and privacy, significantly better. One of the things that I only know this because I've been in this industry so long. The government made this plan back in the early 2000s, a mandate that they were going to convert over to IPv6 because that was the way to go. And then all these consultants, these DoD consultants and military consultants and literally consultants from China said, oh, no, we don't want to do that just yet. We don't want to do that right now. That's not a good thing. It's bad. It's expensive. Oh, no, it's really, don't want to do that. And the bottom line is that if we had done all those things years and years ago, there would be less hacking, there would be less snooping, there would be less spying on Americans. There would be a lot less of this going on because the security is much better in IPv6. I'm not saying it's going to go away.
Right.
I'm just saying that there was a reason why this country and this world is not 100% on IPv6 today, and that's because of a lot of compromising and interests that don't want to see this change occur. Now, I sound a little conspiracy theory about that, but it's bottom line dollars and cents, right?
Right.
So why would I want my business, and my business is those SSL certificates? That's my business, right? Why would I want everybody to go to IPv6 so that I'm out of business? Or I'm a voice over IP provider. Why do I want everybody to go to IPv6 to put me out of business?
Okay, so that SSL thing, I just realized I was pitched it by my provider for $70 a year, and I'm thoroughly incensed by it. But you're saying I wouldn't even need that if we went to IPv6.
So the world is going to change dramatically once we can get off of this old, DOS 0.1 equivalent of the internet and can move into IPv6, and that's going to have an effect, I think, with these rules that I'm proposing to enable a lot more companies to get into the social media communications world with applications that run on your device instead of hosted applications. And then you'll have a more decentralized network of information that's protocol based as opposed to, I can only see your Facebook if I'm on Facebook, or I can only see your Twitter if I'm on Twitter. Whereas the future, I think, is if I'm on, my favorite app, and we'll just call it whatever the future app of the future, we'll call it the AOC Future Hasn't Been Invented Yet app.
Oh, man. Okay.
But my buddy, because he has different interests, has a different app that may have more focus on whatever it is, but we want to share on the social media together, and so we're just part of this social media protocol. So I can see his stuff with my app, which is totally different than his app. And that's kind of the analog to what web pages are today. So the future is definitely going to change, and a lot of what we see today with large corporations dominating information and becoming the gatekeepers is going to go away. But the only way that's going to change is if the public gets involved and we start laying down the law, so to speak, on our own, and not keep asking the government to solve our problems. We have to take responsibility because, at the end of the day, the situation that we're in today with censorship and AI and everything that's going on is our own fault.
Right.
We did it to ourselves. We said to ourselves, geez, it would sure be nice if I could just talk to the computer and have it tell me what I need to know. Or, it could be great if I could just, have this camera in my house. Because people don't realize, they're putting these security systems. Here's another thing. Security companies, licensed security companies are losing market share to these internet-based, stick a camera and a sensor and whatever else in your house and stick it on the internet and it'll just notify you. So there's no licensing there. There's no protection there. There's no guarantee that some unscrupulous person isn't going to hack whatever it is that on the cloud that they're using to make that work for you and watch your wife walk around the house all day in her nightie. Okay?
Yeah, that's bad
these types
news.
of things are definitely a problem of the future.
Wow, awesome. So along with transitioning that and coupled with the Internet Bill of Rights, if you will, we can certainly move into a more secure and a more personally controlled Internet environment to where you control it yourself. That's fantastic. I absolutely love this. Do you have the dates for American Priorities Conference?
Yeah, so it's going to be the Columbus Day weekend, October 10th to the 12th. So it's a nice long holiday weekend, so you can make a nice holiday. It's going to be at the Trump National in Doral, which is near Miami. It's a beautiful PGA golf resort. So if you're into golf, there you go. You can bring your clubs. If you're not into golf, there's other things to do. That's a lot of fun. It's a beautiful area. We're going to have a golf tournament where we raise funds for St. Jude's. We're going to have a fundraiser for Walkaway, which your cousin is going to be running for us. Again, a little Texas Hold'em. So if you want to play cards and have some fun there and raise some funds for Walkaway, we're going to have our speakers and panels again. We're going to spend more time with some of the discussions. So because one of the complaints we had last year was it was kind of just too fast, not enough time on any one topic. Right. So we're going to have less topics, but more time, and we're going to have them mixed in with some people that are going to bring up some new concepts and discussions. And it's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to have live music. We're going to have plan is to have Ricky Rebel. So if you don't know Ricky Rebel, look him up on the internet. But he is a pop star that has come out of the closet twice. Once to say that he was gay, and once to say that he was a Trump supporter.
Oh no! Oh no! We got to support him. We got to lift him up.
We helped him get into the Grammys this year, and he did the "Keep America Great Again" jacket. So look him up, Ricky Rebel and the Grammys, and you can see all the pictures of what happened there. So, but it's going to be a lot of fun. Plus, we're going to have a lot of. I'm going to see a lot of old friends visit, maybe some new friends. But it's going to be a lot of fun, a lot of good fellowship, and an opportunity to meet new people and have discussions about what we want to do next.
Awesome. And for all the information, folks, that you listen to, look down in the description below. I'll have all the links down there where you can go to AmericanPriority.com. I look forward to meeting all y'all there again and seeing everybody again, getting the old gang back together, if you will. So I'm thrilled with it. All right, sweet. And we'll find a way to link that back. We'll have something on our webpage to link back to AmericanPriority.com as well over at SmythTV. So thank you, Alex. I always a pleasure having you a guest, and I really appreciate it.
Well, thanks, Brian. It was great to be here, and I'll look forward to seeing you again soon.
And I want to thank you again so much, Alex, for coming on our show and giving us some of the great information that a lot of us don't know about. I mean, I certainly don't know about this information that a professional like yourself would have at their, learned throughout the decades of being in the telecom world. And again, thank you. And folks, you've been watching New Right Network, SmythTV, every single night, Monday through Friday, 7 to 8 p.m. Eastern. Crush the share, crush the like, crush the follow, the subscribe, the bells, the whistles, all of it. And jump over to SmythTV and get caught up on all the information that we have for you. Share us with your friends and your family. We will see you. Today's Thursday Thoughts. I mean, I'm getting lost on what day it is. Today's Thursday Thoughts. And we will see you guys tomorrow for what I call Freedom Friday.
You've been listening to New Right Network, mobilizing, countering, energizing. Online at newrightnetwork.com.